Yeah, you know what time it is. It's time for the Geekenders podcast. MegaRan, Jesse and Dodger, what up? Let's go. Yo, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to geek out. Let it begin. Go on, stream and shout. It's Jesse and Dodger, so give them a follow and see what the Geekenders are all about. Yo, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to geek out. Let it begin. Go on, stream and shout. It's Jesse and Dodger, so give them a follow. #1 geek podcast, without a doubt. Yo, another end of another long week. Got a job and a kid, I know that you all beat. So take a second, grab a drink and vibe while we catch you up in just a matter of time. On gaming, comics, whatever you're doing. If you're nerdy like us, then you know you should tune in. Thank you for sharing our world with us. Now follow, subscribe, and turn this up. Yo, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to geek out. Let it begin. Go on, scream and shout. It's Jesse and Dodger, so give them a follow. #1 geek podcast, without a doubt.
Everybody, and welcome to Geekenders. It is June the 19th, and we have a lovely guest, friend, and master writer, Babs. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you. So that everybody knows, Babs, of course, is a writer, and we're going to write about the lovely things that she writes. But also, Babs and I play Pathfinder every week. So we're bros now, which is great.
Pals. And Jesse and I just met, but I know we're gonna be true life friends.
The beginning of something beautiful, for sure.
We'll see about that. I'm not gonna go that far yet.
How's your week going, Babs?
It's good. I actually just finished the script this week, so I am coming off of that, like, gotta put the words on the page moment, and just enjoyed some demos in preparation for our show today.
Fantastic.
So living the life, living that writer life.
Yeah. How many are you always working on one script, or do you have like multiple scripts going at a time typically?
Yeah, typically multiple. I'm usually 3 projects that I'm juggling, but I try to keep them in separate stages. So I usually try to, I have the draft of something cooking one side. I'm working actively on the script of another. And then there's like an idea that I'm like working out to get there. So yeah, keeping active. I think it's important for the creative juice.
Sure.
I think that people often talk about keeping creativity as a muscle. I don't really believe in like you have to write every day. Like sometimes I just play my little video games and that's okay.
Yeah.
This is how you know my creative juices and my creative muscles are lacking, because I was sitting there the entire time you were talking thinking, how can I make an innuendo out of this? Creative juices, creative muscle. Come on, brain.
I'm working on a goof. It's brewing.
I had nothing. The goof was cooking and it came out
empty.
burnt. And I had nothing. I was like, it seems so obvious. It should be so obvious. And I was like, nope, I got nothing. And I blame Dodger. Dodger has ruined me. It
was always my fault. That's crazy.
Oh, just cause.
So, I've told a lot of people this. You worked on one of my kids' favorite comic series, Cardboard Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I think you told me about it because I was talking about Dogman, and you were like, fucking Dogman. Like,
hey man, listen, I think every industry has that, right? Like you have the person that's making the millions of dollars and you are like, do I work for this guy or do I not work for this guy, or are we colleagues? So Dogman and Middle Grade have a very interesting relationship in which people love Dogman, and hey, we respect that. And then there's still us that are like, but what if we want to say something else that's not Dogman?
Right.
So there is fear, and there is respect, and there is a lot of like, we will grind this out and we will find a way to connect to Dogman so that they can leave the Dogman jail.
Well, I think at the time it was like the difficulty when there's something in your sphere that is taking everybody's attention. How do you inform people of other things that are adjacent that they could be reading or engaging with, right?
Exactly.
And you were like, I don't know. Kids could be reading Cardboard Kingdom. I don't know.
Who can say?
And it's great. And my kid read all 3 and loves them. So check out Cardboard Kingdom if you're looking for a good read. And
yeah, like middle grade is just so interesting because we're working with an audience, right? That we have to make it to the parents, we have to make it to the librarian, the educator, and all that stuff, or just like the cool people on the internet being like, "Hi, hello, please be aware of this thing that you may or may not read along with your child, but I promise you, it's just as good, just as fun." And with the Cardboard Kingdom, especially, we were like, we couldn't make it any easier. Recycling day is right there. You're gonna have cardboard. Like, please let us help you.
Yeah.
You know?
I just thought they were so fun and so much more. I think the stories were more deep than I was expecting them to be. So it was interesting having a kid at the age that I do and wondering how much she was going to engage with that side of it. Like, and I don't know when writing a story if you're always thinking about like, because kids change so drastically over ages. If you're always thinking about like a really specific age range of kid when writing for children, but it was interesting as the parent being like, I wonder how much of this she's going to understand or what she's going to engage with, and she wound up loving it. So it's very cool.
That's great. I love to hear that. Yeah, I think that there's something to be said about like one thing as a writer that I find really important is that I never want to write down to kids. And I feel like that's such a no-brainer to me as a creator. I wouldn't want somebody to talk down on me about how to write or how to do it correctly. So why would I want my reader to feel like I'm being like, let me show you the ways, you know? So bringing them along and whatever the adventure is, whatever the story is really important. And yeah, I mean, life is complicated, right? Like we live in a world where things are happening constantly and they're engaging with them in whatever way they gotta engage. So being able to create stories where they can like in a contained almost environment explore that or not and just be like, hey, this isn't for me. And be like, and that's cool. If you just want to like play with the cardboard, that's great. Or if you want to like consider the notion of what if your parents are getting divorced? Or what if you have questions about what your sense of self is at 10 years old? Then we can do that together, you know?
Yeah. I think that's so cool.
That is really cool. Question really quickly.
Sorry. Yes.
No. Your writing process.
Yeah.
Could you kind of describe it to me, but relate it in context of international bestseller Dan Brown, and if you are better or worse than him?
Please
try to compare and contrast if you could.
Absolutely. I read Angels and Demons in a very formative year as a teenager. And to give you a glimpse of the cultural environment in which I lived, I thought Dan Brown was nonfiction for a hot second while I was reading that book. Which I was like, yeah, this shit's happening at the Vatican and they've been trying to hide it.
The Da Vinci Code's real, don't you see?
The Da Vinci Code is so real. So, yeah, so that tells you about why I went into fantasy and why I went into very much fictional stories with real themes, because sometimes you can be like Dan Brown and say like, hey, what if I put all these like very believable perhaps things that you could be like, but what if it's true? What if Nicolas Cage is true? Is the Antichrist? So
you know what? I thank you for yes-anding that. I'm glad I got the answer I wanted. Yeah. And a little backstory about how important I think Dan Brown is to all of our lives.
Listen, again, is Dan Brown the dog man of Christian fiction? I don't know.
Full circle.
I don't work in that genre. Yeah, we got this. We're here. I don't know if he is, and I'm sure one day him and James Patterson are just gonna have to duke it out
Yes.
for
Yes.
supremacy.
Yes. This is what I'm talking about.
And I'd like a ticket. I feel like I'd like a ticket.
Oh my God. And on the broadcast mics, Stephen King, Tom Clancy. I want to hear them talk about this rumble for the ages. That's what we need.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I found out just the other day that Babs has one of those superpowers where you can be like, I really love this book, or I really love this author. And Babs will respond with, oh, you should read this, or oh, have you checked out this author? Like always a web of books.
Whoa.
Hold
Are
on.
you trying to say a writer is also a reader?
I know, isn't that
Stop
crazy?
Cut it out.
No.
Too powerful.
This is too dangerous. People can't know this.
Yeah. So I think we were specifically talking about how a lot of people are looking for alternatives to books like Harry Potter, and how there are a lot of those, but maybe people don't know how to find them. And
there are so many.
Babs was throwing a bunch out. Yeah.
Fantasy genre is filled with there's so many other things besides Harry Potter. It's all right, y'all. You can go read so many books. It's crazy.
And there's good ones and there's bad ones. And when I try to recommend things, I'm like, I think this is some of the better ones. Perhaps, like I've read the gamut, and I feel like, going back to that journey as a writer, I started in fanfic, like no shame. Like, I love telling stories, and I love telling like spins to stories. And as somebody that grew up with like fairy tales and Aesop's fables and things like that, I was like, I'll remix this until I have nothing else to say. And in the same way, like Magic School, you got this. There is one out there for you that is not just extremely bad for the human psyche.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to take a second and pitch your new book that's going to be coming out?
Absolutely.
Tell everyone about it.
Well, actually, I'll talk about two, because you and I have been talking about the Library of Memories, but next month I actually have a Romantasy coming out. So
let's go. All right, it's time. Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Which mythical creature is having sex with which person?
It's actually a pantheon of gods.
Oh my God.
With ancestral romance tips. So I hope you're ready for that. So so let me tell you about To Dance the Moon and Stars comes out July 14th. It is a Romantasy young adult graphic novel. The art is by Tasia MS, and I was the co-writer with her, with a completely original, like, Indian mythology sort of inspired folklore stories, where we made a completely original pantheon of gods, a completely original world build, and the soon-to-be high priestess and the crown prince are in love.
Oh my God.
And
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Crown Prince is in love, but which of those two will be tempted by the gods and get into some crazy, nasty three-ways? Wait.
You're gonna have to read it to find out.
Ah!
But so that's gonna come out and should be very exciting. If there's any listeners out there that are aware of publishing things, it has a Publishers Weekly star, which is like getting like a bit of like an Oscars nod, I suppose.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool that people are like connecting with it and enjoying the sort of this idea of like, how do we make modern fairy tales?
Can I ask you, so like when you say romantasy, what is your definition of, because here's what, I'll be honest, every time I hear romantasy, I think like,
Akatar?
Someone's really horned up for a creature and they're just like, how do I write myself into this, like, I have sex with the Raptor King? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but in your mind, what is romantasy?
Yeah, so absolutely. Again, speaking on this like broad, like what are people assuming about genres and what we create and what we see on media? Romantasy, absolutely full of smut. And listen, again, big enjoyer, big fan, long-time listener. We're there. But ultimately, I think to me, romance and fantasy coming together is like highly conceptual fantasy world, right? Like Lord of the Rings, like something that's going to immerse me in the world that's happening. And then there's romance. Now the romance, we can do 1 pepper, 2 pepper, 3 pepper, whatever you want to do on your spice levels, but it doesn't have to be. I'm a romantic myself, so I'm more of like those delicate moments, like how are they swooning for each other, things like that. So this is more. I'm not gonna. It's a little vanilla. If you're coming from Makotar, Today's the Minister is gonna be a little vanilla, but I think that's okay too. I think we can have both.
So it would be like if in Lord of the Rings, high fantasy, Gandalf was running out every, so often to go see Saruman, not because it's like, I need to go check with the White Wizard, but because he's like, my boyfriend needs me. He's really going through
that
some
he
shit.
could go cup his face and make sure he knows that he's there for him.
He's like, baby, you got to stop staring into the Palantir. It's going to make you crazy. And he's like, but I need to know if you love me. And he's like, I always have. Smooch, smooch, smooch. Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. I think we should talk some more, Jesse, offline. I think we have a book here.
I got you.
Yeah.
Basically, every time I watch a movie, I think, how would I sex this up? Yeah.
Who should be kissing right now?
Who should be kissing? It's true. So that is that book.
When is that coming out? You said in a couple weeks.
July 14th. So that is around the corner. A perfect summer read. If you're still looking for, what am I going to read at the beach? I think it's a pretty lovely beach read. And also just, great over tea with friends. A book club. I think, adults have book clubs.
They do.
Yeah.
Or you could start one.
Or I could start. Dukes, you know me. I think I'm not allowed to start anything else. I think my personality type.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I should be asked to sit down. We went for dinner last night, and it was a big group of us. It was a very lovely time. But somebody else was in charge of the group activity, and they did not think about, how are we going to split the bill at the start? And I was like, raise hand. Hi, should we figure this out before we order food? And I was asked to lower my hand very slowly. No, don't. Just
if
vibe.
It's going to be a train wreck, just let it be a train wreck, Babs. Yeah. I struggle with that too, though. I'm a worrier. So the second I realize there might be an issue, it's hard to stop thinking about the potential issue and just move on.
I never think that. I think that's my problem is I never assume there's going to be an issue. And so when an issue arises, I'm like, well, where the hell did this come from?
That sounds so lovely.
Why didn't no one tell me this could be a problem?
Wow, head empty. I wish that upon myself.
Oh, it feels so good. I know I'm sure there's some sort of drug they could ADD treat me for, but nah, dude. I like this version of life. It's great. I'm like, all those problems, I already forgot about them. I don't need to worry. It's all good. And then that's future Jesse's problem. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of life is having these problems long enough that you're like, you know what? That's just who I am, and I've got a lot of other great qualities, and it's fine.
Yeah. I have a friend that told me recently that they were like, yeah, I could get diagnosed or I could just raw dog life. And I was like, you know what? And I respect that. You can just raw dog your brain through it, and that's okay.
And you can, and a lot of people do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just afraid I'll become boring Jesse. And I'll be like, hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about math. I get it now. It's pretty cool. The numbers are letters now. Isn't that crazy?
Wait,
let's do equations.
Yeah.
You think some reason, ADHD medication is going to give you synesthesia?
Yes. I think it'll make me into a genius.
Okay.
Wow.
Because I feel like the only reason I'm not a hyper successful genius is because the ADD is holding me down. It
has to be.
The balance in the universe. Yeah, without it, I would be, unfortunately,
Yeah.
put in charge of everything.
Right.
And I don't want that
And
stress.
you
I don't want to
that.
run the world, but people
Yeah.
would demand it. They'd be like, you're so smart and talented and charming. We want you to run the world. I'm like, guys, I can't.
It's
I
true.
can't. I'd pour the pills down the toilet because at the end I'd be like, I just like Homer when he gets the crayon stuck up his nose. I like pull it out.
Yeah.
I want to be dumb again. Pull it out. Yeah.
Sure.
Or the Rock Lee weights. I always
Yes,
on that. It's like,
Just put the weights back
I'm
on,
holding
man.
myself back for you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. And then your other book.
And then my
Right.
other book. So let's talk. So that was young adult. And then in August, on the 25th, if you're in the United States, we're still trying to figure out when it comes out in the UK. Dukes will let us know. The Library of Memories is coming out. It is a fantasy original graphic novel for middle grade readers, which is like your 8 to your 14-year-olds, if you ask me. But again, you heard it from Dukes. I didn't have to tell you. I try to write without writing down to the potential reader. I think it's a great story for adults as well.
I cried. Not that it's hard to
Thank
make me
you.
cry, but I did cry at the end reading it.
Well, can I ask
Yes.
you so when you talk about writing for different age ranges, right? There is one, the age range you assume you're writing for.
Yep.
And then there's 2, the age range of what those kids at that age can actually read.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then there is sort of the general public's version of like most readers are stuck at like 7th grade reading level.
Yep.
So when you have to write, what words are you including, not including, sentence structure, paragraph? Like, how do you decide how you're going to tell this? I know you said, I'm not going to write down to anyone, but how do you decide, okay, well, if this is who we're aiming for, this is how we have to write?
That's a great question, Jesse. What an excellent question.
And not a bullshit one either. I'm very
No, it's
pleased with
not.
myself.
There was no
Yeah,
sex in it at all.
Yeah, there was no goof. It was a real question.
It was a great question. So when I say I don't talk down, I mean in the sense of like hiding subject matters, hiding like, hey, I'm gonna make this like really easy or really hard for you just for funsies. But the great thing about writing for graphic novels, which is mostly what I do, with comics, we get to adapt it on several levels. So the visuals, of course, are going to help that reluctant reader that's like, I don't want to read these words. And then in the terms of words, when I'm writing for like a younger audience, I, yes, take into account this like big idea market of like my publisher being like, this is going to be for 8 to 12-year-olds. And that's your vocabulary that's available to you. And then challenging that a little bit, right? Like, do you think back when you were 12 and reading a Dan Brown book that you should not have been reading. When you encountered
But it's a secret. They're not telling us the truth.
Exactly. And you were reading and you encountered a word that you didn't know. Didn't that spark a little curiosity? Didn't you want to know what it meant? Or like be like, wait, it's coming back contextually. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of playing with the dialogue to make sure that we are either providing those context clues or just, speaking in layman's terms, whatever that means, in terms of whatever the age range is.
Yeah, I love that, and I appreciate that on sort of a former educator level, where I love the idea of talk to a person how you're going to talk to them, and if they don't understand a thing, I am here to answer it, or they can look it up themselves, but you shouldn't like dumb down stuff for the purposes of making it easy. And as you know, since I'm in like the gaming world these days, when I play games and it's very obvious they took a concept and like babied it, rather than like, it drives me crazy. And even though I'm not great at them, like the various Souls games, I appreciate fundamentally how almost all of them are like, we're not going to hold your hand. If you want to figure out what the hell's going on, or there's a word or a concept you don't understand, look it up, dum-dum. And you do, and then you can go watch 8 billion YouTube videos that will explain it even more in depth. And I love, honestly, that's why I like weird meta narratives, weird stories, weird that kind of stuff is great because they're purposefully not going to explain stuff to you, and you have to sit there and think about it and walk away with like, all right, I'm going to think. Like this week, the movie Disclosure Day came out.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's you know, Spielberg and aliens, and there's a lot about the movie I absolutely love, and a lot about I was like, not for me. But what's fundamentally interesting is it's very clear that in this film, Spielberg is like, I'm gonna metaphor you out the wazoo. And there's so much happening. And I obviously don't want to spoil anything in the movie, but there's so much going on that when you're done with it, I walked out and it wasn't like a wow, that got me, or like that sucked. I was like, I'm gonna have to stew on some of this for a while because there's a lot happening. And it's very like they're gonna cram a bunch of crap into this movie. There's like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And so thinking about all the different things in there, I was like, I'm glad I got to have this moment of like, all right, when I'm done, I'm gonna walk out and be like, what was that? What did I just watch? and I like those experiences, even if I don't necessarily like the product, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's sort of a very good point of how I approach my books. I don't want you to just, I mean, I think that there is that. There is books that we read and we just kind of read them and you're like, that was a nice experience, and you put it down. But as a storyteller for myself, and the stories that I sort of gravitate towards, even in video games and movies and whatever, I want to think about it. Again, if you don't want me to think about who's going to be smooching, that's fine. Like, you know, but if I'm able to think about what is happening, often what I try to think about is like what is happening beyond the panel, particularly again around comics and graphic novels. Like the passage of time is hidden between panel to panel. Like what happened from this page turn to the next. Like things sometimes are evolving actively and they're happening behind the scenes. And it's not because as creators we want to hide it. It's more of like, no, I want you to fill in that blank. Like, why don't you tell this story with me, kind of thing. So I think that that's really important. And it's something that we sort of set out to do with the Library of Memories, to bring it back expertly.
Oh my gosh.
It's a fantasy story. It takes place in the Library of Memories. Our lead character is a like 12, 13-year-old named Copenhagen, or so she thinks that's her name. She has no memories of her own, and then she's in this like infinite space that we were like, what's the most fun sandbox we could think of for this comic? And we were like, big room, library setting, full of stuff that is memories, you know? And she's in the book, she's gonna have to figure out like the mystery that's going on with the library because it's losing its powers, but also who she is, right? Like that's an intrinsic like question to ask a young reader, to be like, who do you want to be? Like, what do you want to shape you, or what do you want people to understand about yourself? And to be able to explore that with like our influences. Lizzie Marlin is the illustrator in this, and she and I have known each other for like 15 years. So, you know, we were backstage sort of mentioning how long you and Dukes have known each other. And it's the same thing. It's like Lizzie and I have gone through so much that fitting it in a, 300-page graphic novel would be impossible. But that was our challenge for ourselves, to be like, what can we say? What can we get away with? Like, how much can we fit in this Disclosure Day, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really loved it. And it's sort of an adjacent question to what Jesse asked that I wanted to ask was, I know that you don't want to talk down or write down to your readers, but do you feel like when you're writing, you need to add more exposition for younger readers, or not really?
Sometimes. I think that it depends on the topic. Often, with the Library of Memories in particular, and, I'll caveat saying, like, don't read the comics. But some of the early sort of impressions that we've gotten have been like, I was a little confused about it. And I was like, and that's okay. I was like, I almost want to, like, if I could reply to those comments, I would be like, why is it bad to feel confused? Why is it bad to feel like you were missing some information, or like did that alter the story in some way for you, you know? And like exploring that gauge, particularly for young readers, because I think, you know, we were talking a little earlier about this idea of like, who are we sort of serving this for? And like, and how much they're changing, like the culture they're exposed to, the things they're interested in. You know, by the time I write a book, it's not going to have a 6-7 joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just impossible for me to stay on the side guys like that. So it's like exploring, like, what does it mean to put something on the page that will feel resonant, but also unlock something else that may or may not be on par to whatever's happening when they read it.
Right. Well, I had a lovely time reading it. So that one's coming out in August, end of August. So,
Ooh, here's a question really quickly. When you are doing a comic, art first, then words, words first, then art?
Word first. So
Okay.
I work script. It's a little bit like, well, if we can get away with it, because it depends on the project, it's a bit of like a writer's room where we're coming up with it, and I'm sort of the transcribe. I'm like, yes, we're in this. And then I do a lot of narrative work in terms of my experience as a writer and, you know, my background and all of that, wherein I sort of clean it up, polish it up. So then when an artist comes in and sort of the co-creator that's in the project, they're like, oh, okay, like this is what's in the page. And then they take their own expertise and massage those words in terms of like panel direction, the lighting, the setting, the where is the box in relation to this, playing with the panel layout, things like that. And then the dialogue I've provided, but sometimes things evolve. Like when it gets to the art, it's like this dialogue was too long. Can we chop it up in some way? Or they were like, this feels like there was something else that they needed to say. Do we need more additional dialogue and things like that? So it's a lot of back and forth in those versions as it takes shape.
Cool.
yeah, I've only written a couple of like really short things that got turned into comics, but even with those, I found very quickly that it becomes really apparent to you, like, oh, the dialogue with this visual isn't working somehow. Like, try to figure out, like, does the dialogue need to shift? Does the picture need to shift?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to help the story progress the way that it needs to? And I remember when I first started wanting to write scripts potentially, you gave me a lot of very good advice. So thank you for that.
Of course.
Retroactively.
And I love talking about that stuff because I think it's that, you know, I mentioned like comics work in like several layers at once. And it's that, like, is the job of the writer to be able to not necessarily predict, but be able to shift things. Because it's like, yeah, this dialogue's not working, but how can I put it in the picture? Or like ask the artist to find a way to represent this, right? Like one of the books that came out earlier this year, I adapted Jenny Han's To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which if anybody's ever had a Netflix, you've seen the movie. But they're prose books, and it's the same thing. It's a very interior based narrative. We're in Lara Jean's head constantly in those prose books. And, you know, the work becomes, it's like, well, now we have to make it look into a comic. So like what kind of directions can I give an artist to be like, this is the emotional beat we're looking for here that we can't put in the dialogue because we're not all like talking in interior monologues.
Right. Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Jesse, anything to say?
Yeah, Jesse.
I have nothing to say. I am, you know, certainly not distracted by what appears to be a Captain Phasma mask behind you.
Yeah.
That's not I'm not distracted at all. Don't worry about it. It's like, whatever.
No. Again, you know, is my background working in several levels? Yes, it is, right? Like I often get people, it's like, your background is so good. I was like, thank you. I'm
not saying I was sitting here thinking, I wonder as a writer, how you feel about Captain Phasma as a character. But it's unimportant to this conversation, but that's definitely what I was thinking. I was like,
It could be important if you'd
Would you like
it
to ask
be.
it now?
Yeah.
Officially?
no, I mean, like, no, not even the movies cared about Captain Phasma. Why should we?
Oh no.
I'll tell you this. Sometimes the answer is simpler than you think.
Phasma looks cool, and I agreed. If that's the answer.
Thank
agreed.
you. You
Yeah.
get it. And they
Yeah,
put
no.
Christine behind there. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, what else do you want me to
my
say?
love, please. Yeah, no, I get it. We're fine.
Yeah.
I just,
so
there's no reason to waste time on Captain Phasma. Again, the movies didn't. So it's whatever. It's all good. Yeah.
I have one last writing question, if that's okay.
I love that. Yes.
Do you write for things other than graphic novels? Do you still write non-graphic novels?
Non-graphic novels.
Yeah.
What are
Whatever you
those
would call those.
Yeah. Pros. Meh. Yeah. So yeah, I said I thought, when I was a little like budding writer, I was like, I'm gonna write the next Divergent is basically where I was at initially, which I
Yep.
was like, that's not gonna happen anytime soon. But yeah, I still write prose. I do. I dabble in poetry and microfiction, which I find really quick. I think that there is something about like writing comics and writing that format that lends itself really well to just be like, I just need to get this out of my head.
Yeah,
Like
I just have an
it
idea.
doesn't have to be, just like put it out there, 500 words, done. I can put it down. And then maybe one day I come back to it, make it into a script. Maybe I come back to it, make it a short story, things like that. But to me, my process is a lot in just like, I just need to get it out of my head. I just need to put it on something. So I do poetry that is often very nonfiction, so a lot of like talking about myself. That's sort of where I explore, am I ever gonna write a memoir? I guess never say never, but right now that's not really the genre I sort of steer towards. So in poetry and like microfiction, I do a lot of like sort of exploration about my life. I grew up in the Caribbean in a hyper-Catholic country, in the closet, and sort of like came to the United States and have lived, it feels like we've lived several lives, right? Like by the time we're
Sure.
like in our 30s, I'm like, I've been so many different people and they have to live in words somehow.
Mm. That's very beautiful.
Thanks. And that they live in TTRPGs. I think that's what it is. That's where we put them. Like, that in video games.
Yeah, it might sound like kind of silly to people who don't play TTRPGs, but I do feel like every character I make, even if it's goofy, is partly me, right? Like it's some weird part of me in there. And if a game goes on long enough, I think it's fun to like explore more serious stuff with TTRPG characters.
Yeah.
And occasionally interrogate myself like, what do I like? Why am I thinking about this?
What's that about?
Yeah, where's that
what's that about, homie?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's fun.
Jesse over there, like, yeah. That's exactly what I'm doing.
I'm with you.
The games.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
I love it.
That's why I love to be assholes in TTRPGs. I love to be assholes.
You're
it's my favorite
exploring
thing to
the
do.
asshole part of your personality.
Yeah.
Well, it's because, unfortunately for me, I can't, like, I suffer from the inability to be a dick in real life. Because if I do, I feel terrible. I will, like, if I say anything that I'm like, cross the line there, I will message that person. I'm so sorry. Like,
And that's a good thing. I think
It
that's a
is
good
good,
quality.
yeah.
Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
like, yeah, but also I never, like I never get in it anymore. I want to be like, I'm gonna be mad at you for like a long time and I'm gonna hold this grudge. Now I'm like, if we could move past this, I just think that neither of us need this drama in our lives. No, that's why I need to be an asshole. I need to be a dick
That's
and
fair.
everything.
So how do you feel about like evil routes in video games? I would love does that help? Is that a good outlet?
No,
for
it
that?
doesn't help at all. I I will say I'm going to be evil and then only pick good options.
Yeah, of course.
Even in games where you're bad, I'll be the nice bad guy. And I don't want to be, but it will just happen naturally. So then I have to force myself to be evil. And what ends up happening is I become like a worrying level of evil. Like, I think it's like one of those two wolves situations where I got one wolf chained up, but he's only chained up because I know he's more powerful. And I'm as an example, playing Baldur's Gate 3, I did my Jesse the Good run where I played a bad guy, but I was just a good guy. And it was great. It was like one of the best things I've ever done. So I had to be Jesse the Evil. Jesse the Evil wasn't just like, I'm going to kill people and be a bad guy. The thing that matters the most is that when I got that dog and everyone's like, oh my God, Jesse's going to kill the dog. I was like, no, I kept the dog. I treated the dog well. Everything was great. And then when I found his abusive master, I gave him back to him.
Dang.
That's
Truly
evil. That's the darkest thing a person could do.
Psychological. Yeah, that's like deeply psychologically evil.
Everyone was like, oh my God, you're a monster. I was like, I know. This is in me.
But I'm trying to be evil right now. And it's the most evil thing I could think of.
I gave you pure evil and y'all weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
Y'all couldn't handle my darkness. Yeah. It's in there. Yeah, I got him chained up in the back. Don't worry about it. But should there ever be an apocalypse situation, as Dodger and I have discussed, depending on the apocalypse, if it's a rapture and I'm not raptured, all rules are off. At that point, I know I'm doomed. So I'm going full,
28 days.
I don't know, Mad Max cannibal level. I'm just going to be a monster, right? Depending on the apocalypse, I just know what I'm going to have to do. That's what I'm saying. So, but also, I think we all understand. This is just me saying that's what I'll have to do, but I know for a fact I'll be like, I run Freetown, where everyone here is able to express themselves in a post-apocalyptic world through love and brotherhood. And I hate that about me, because I'll get killed by marauders. I'm going to be murdered by some guy with a mask that has spikes on it. I know this. I want to be Mass Spike Guy. I don't want to get killed by Mass Spike Guy.
I think you could be Mass Spike Guy. I think it's in you.
Yeah, I got spiked shoulder pads and spiked nipples, all sorts of spikes everywhere. And they call me Spike. Spike the Spikeinator. And I'd be spiking everyone. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'll just be homesteading until I get killed. But I'm hoping that I can.
Spike the Spikeinator. And I won't remember
I'm
you
hoping
anymore.
I could be charismatic enough that I make enough friends with spikes. I have enough spike friends to protect me from the other spikes, you know?
Ooh. Or
yes.
Or I open a new Vegas situation and I develop a southern accent and I have a cane and I'm like, find me Dodger and bring her before me, right? And then my goons will come get you and I'm like, well.
But my spikes will fight off your goons.
Hell?
Yeah. Did you amass your goons because you gave them insurance and good?
No. They're all mutants and creeps.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's
so you treated them with kindness.
They're also gambling addicts.
Right.
They need to come back and gamble. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Are you okay there, Dukes?
What is happening?
The turkey just gobbled 8 times in a row.
Oh.
And I was trying to figure out if he's in danger, but I think he's fine.
I thought the spikes were out there and you were checking.
Right.
So
My spikes came by to make sure I was okay. Yeah.
I told them to wait 20 or 30 years. Oh, man. Well, sorry.
They're already here, so.
They're all mutants. They don't, they don't know what's up. Also,
Speaking.
can we agree that saying the word mutant is way more fun than mutant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the mutants. Hilarious. Mutants? Whatever.
It does make me imagine an ant, though.
Right, but that's fun because that would be my
beefy
swarm.
A beefy ant, yeah.
Like a man ant.
A mant.
A mant. My army of mants. To war! And then they all
Could be, depending on the apocalypse. Could be a beefy ant.
Apocalypse? That's the winner.
That's the one. What I was gonna say is, speaking of games, do we want to talk about demos that we've played?
Yes.
Who would like to go first? Who would like to throw out a demo?
Oh, I'll go first only because I'm the shame of the group. I downloaded, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 demos.
Okay.
I didn't play
Solid
none
number.
of them. I didn't play a single one. And if you're wondering, Jesse, why didn't you play a single one?
You were the one that
Let me
messaged me
you.
like, "Hey, make sure that Babs knows we're going to be talking
I'm
about
aware
the
of my
demos."
hypocrisy. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm aware. So, for those of you who have ever visited Los Angeles, California, or been to LA, there's a place called Glendora. Glendora is lovely. It's fine. They have a nice, weird castle there. It's like out in the middle of nowhere, kind of. It's right up by the mountains before you like hit the desert. And so I was invited to be a part of this Magic the Gathering thing. And I was like, sure, I would love to go out to Glendora and do this. So I did. Day one, my car, either someone backed into the front of it or purposely ripped off the license plate. I'm not sure. But the front license plate in the holder is like gone, just like stripped right off. And I was like, what? What do you mean? So I called the Glendora police because I was like, well, I probably should report this.
Sure.
And they were like, oh, no. You live in LA, so you have to report it in Los Angeles. I'm like, but it happened here. And they're like, those are the rules. So I went to Los Angeles, went to a police station, talked to the guy, and he was like, those lazy bastards in Glendora. No, it's on them. They got to deal with it. And I was like, so he's like, well, all right, is this what you need to do? We're going to call them and we're going to handle this. So now, by the way, this is a whole 2 days of just waste.
Of course, of course.
So, yeah, and he's like, we're going to handle this. So I go back to Glendora to go talk to the police there. And they're like, well, since we don't know what happened, all we can do is file an incident report. Not actually like a crime report, because we don't know if someone hit it and just knocked it off or whatever. But we'll make an incident report, and then you have to go to the DMV and get a new license plate. And I was like, okay. So I go all the way back to the DMV. Now I'm in line. I'm waiting a whole damn day at the DMV, sitting there waiting for this to happen. Get a new license plate. Cost me $35. I'm like, great, cool. Then I go back, and they're like, actually, you may have to come back to Glendora to sign some stuff. I'm like,
no.
For those of you who don't know, going to Glendora from where I live takes about an hour and a half. So it's a 3-hour round trip no matter what. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay. So I go back as I'm returning. I'm like on the side of the road waiting to turn onto the highway, and there's a bunch of kids just standing there. Now, I don't know if they threw a thing or shot a BB or what, but I heard like a bonk, and I was like, what? So I pull over into a gas station. On the side of my car, rear passenger side, is like a perfect, not like hole through it, but almost could have been a hole where it looks like they either shot a BB or threw a rock. And there's just like a big chunk in my car that's like a dent now, and you can see into the, like, past the paint and stuff. And I'm like, I'm never going back to Glendora ever again. Like, there's nothing that could make me go back. It has been, every time I've been there, it's been a complete shit show. So what I'm saying is, Glendora, what is your problem? Why are you like this? I want to love you, and you pushed me away. So yeah, that's what my week was. It was a treat. But I downloaded 12 games, and they all looked really fun. One was like wood carvings. It was a little tiny
Woodo?
fox, and it was like a wood. Yeah, and I was like,
Woodo's
that's so
great.
cute. I would love to play that game. I even downloaded, like, I got like horror games. I went and I got one that kind of looked like FTL, but it's not. It's called Hull Rupture. I got like Sinking City 2. I was going to play that. I got nothing. I did nothing but drive in my car. However, I will say yesterday, I did go to an event for, I think I can say the game for Dawn Walker.
Cool.
I can't talk about it at all, but I will say,
did go.
I enjoyed myself tremendously. And that's all I'll say about that.
And it wasn't in Glendora, so
no, it was downtown LA, which surprisingly is not a problem for me. by the way, I forgot yesterday that, World Cup, obviously it's happening. I'm aware it's happening, but like it's in the ethos. It like exists, but it's not like I'm outside the city. So I'm not like actively, I go downtown. There was a sizable amount of Korean and Mexican fans. And I gotta say, making everything better. Everything was significantly more like LA felt like a place you actually wanted to be instead of a place you're like, well, why the hell would we go downtown? Like, it was popping off. So giving all the love to the Korean and Mexican fans who were just losing it and like driving around with flags out windows, honking, like walking down the street drunk as shit, just like having a good time. And I was like, yes,
Global
let's bring it back. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I went to a control event this week, which was very fun.
I saw a picture of you and Sam there.
Yeah. And one of the guys that was working there, he was saying that he's being sent to like, all over the place to sort of run these little play tests with people. But he was like, I have to come back to England though, because I need the camaraderie while watching the World Cup. Like you just, if you're going to get really into it, it makes such a huge difference if the people around you are also into it and like having a good time and getting excited,
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. Like as someone, look, I'll be real. I've been down on the US lately. It's kind of like, what are we doing?
You
guys?
think?
you think?
Watching, but watching people from like Scotland and Korea and Japan, like all these people from all over the world come to the US and like get hype on the basic core US-ness I'm like a little peeved. I'm feeling very patriotic. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, yes, I love watching this guy try Waffle House for the first time. Or these dudes being like, I love barbecue. And I'm like, yeah. You know what? Yes. Or the fact that the Scots literally drank Boston out of beer.
Yeah, drank it dry.
There was no
So
more
proud.
beer in bar. I was like, yes. Yeah. All the Bostonians being like, we need these guys back. They're making the city better. I'm like, yes, we need more of this. I'm so glad people are having a good time, that all these people from all over the world are like getting like to the core of what the experience should be and not what it actually is. But like, I'm thrilled at that. And it's really fun to watch. So yeah, you know what? At first I was like, the World Cup's going to be a shit show. I'm surprised it's not, and I'm happy it's not.
It may yet be, but right now, it's glorious.
We're just starting. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But
I'm not sure if New Jersey's gonna survive it. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, the New York, New Jersey moment is where I'm like trepidatious. Boston, very excited for the Scots.
I believe in the dream. Yeah, it's lovely. It's very fun. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, man, soccer fans are the coolest, because we all know about hooligans and whatnot. But with that said, it's nice to see people having a good time and just like celebrating. And we've had a lot of like micro joyous moments here lately. So big thumbs up for that.
And the Knicks parade. Have you all seen some footage of that? Same thing. It's like I think my favorite has been the whole like Mom Johnny is just like living through like a Disney Channel movie like moment.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah. So. That's very fun to watch. But also it almost feels unfair to the Spurs, because like San Antonio is a significantly smaller town. And so there was no way they were going to have the same hype as New York. So when everyone's like, yeah, New York, dog, poor San Antonio's like, we are also here. And
we were second.
Tried our, have you been to the Riverwalk? It's lovely. Like, I have, and it is lovely.
It is lovely, you. San Antonio.
However, it's New York. So, you know, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
They needed a win. New York really just needed a W kind of thing. It's like, let them have it for a moment. It's okay.
Yeah, fine. Anyway, demos. Please tell me, what did you play?
Oh gosh. I'll talk about Woodo, since that's one that you downloaded, Jesse, and it's also
so cute
one that
in a very Dodger game. Yeah.
Suggested to Babs. So I thought, based on the description, I thought that it was gonna be like Curse of the Golden Idol, but wholesome, because
Okay.
it's like still frame dioramas, right? And it's a puzzle game. So I was like, okay, maybe it'll be like figure out what's happening in this picture, but it's not murder, right?
Yeah.
But it's a bit different in that the puzzle element is that you are given a bunch of little wooden pieces. Everything has such like a nice wood texture to it, the whole game.
It looks really, it looks good.
And you are following the story of a little fox who has moved out to the country. And their entire like social life and hobby and everything is entirely online. But they're moving to or spending the summer in a place where they're going to have spotty internet and they don't like kind of know anybody, right? And so the demo is the first story. And it's like a circular freeze frame of the story of them first coming into town. So you're with each like section, you're given a selection of wood pieces and you have to figure out where the wood pieces go. So it might be like really obvious. It might be a character's entire body, but it also might be like a weird little wood piece and it turns out it's somebody's leg. So you have to sort of, a bunch of them are going to be obvious and then some will be less obvious. And so with each section that you sort of build out with these wood pieces, it tells you that part of the story and lets you move on to the next section. And once you've done each part of the story, it zooms you out and gives you the final pieces and you can sort of fill in all of the gaps, which was very satisfying to me because it kept moving on and I'd be like, wait, but there's like trees and stuff back there that are still, in grayscale. When do I get those? But you get them at the end and it creates like this beautiful wooden like picture sculpture looking thing that represents that part of the story. It's very cute. Yeah, it's very cute. It feels like it's probably going to be emotional in one way or another. But I think the demo's lovely for that one. So
Nice.
Cool.
Definitely recommend that. Babs and I during pre-show were talking about Penguin Colony, so we could talk about that again.
About that. Yeah.
What is penguin? Yeah. Is it just a colony of penguins? You just run a colony of penguins?
It is an eldritch horror from the perspective.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
Yes,
Hold on.
Hold on.
It's an eldritch horror from the perspective of a colony of penguins. You do not play any specific penguin. You can walk up to other penguins and become them. You are controlling the entire colony.
Wait, so you're the Eldritch Horror?
To be seen. Unsure.
Who knows?
Yes.
Unsure. I think it's more interesting if not, but I'm not honestly not totally sure.
Yeah. I was sort of really intrigued by the premise of it. I was like, sure, like what's the worst that could happen? Like, let's go in. And when I sort of reported back to Dukes, I was like, it's like Happy Feet, but what if Eldritch like
Unhappy Feet? Yeah.
Yeah. And I extracted some joy of like just like zooming around being a little penguin. And again, same thing. We were sort of commiserating over the controls are a little clunky and it's somewhat a little unclear of what the purpose of having many penguins to choose from is, other than like, well, if you want to be this little puffy penguin, you can, and that'll be fun and you'll enjoy it. But yes, there is this sort of like eldritch horror happening in the middle of Antarctica, and overall, I thought it was sort of intriguing in the same way that like early Control felt a little bit like to me. That's like, okay, this could be something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the penguins become a major factor or not, beyond that, to be seen.
Yeah, because I had said to Babs that like there's a part early on in the demo where there's a chain link fence and part of the fence is like lifted. And you're like, oh, I can become a little penguin and get through the
under
fence.
It. Sure.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this is interesting. So bigger penguins have more stamina. The stamina, I don't think really came into play too much or mattered.
Yeah, you could game it with the mountain, like sort of like the Legend of Zelda. You know, you just kind of stop in the middle of the mountain. It's like, I'll wait this out.
Yeah. But when it introduced this idea of different penguins will be able to do different things, I was like, oh, so there will be kind of a puzzle element here. That also didn't really go anywhere in the demo, and that was a little disappointing for me. And also, there was a part where clearly I needed a specific type of penguin in order to engage with it, but that penguin was nowhere to be found. And again, because the movement is really clunky and slow, and I complained about this on stream, and somebody was like, yeah, because you're a penguin.
Because they're a penguin, yeah.
You want your penguin character to not waddle, and I was like, no, but if it's gonna be the entire game is you walking around as penguins, I need the movement to be more reliable.
It's tough. It's a little tough when you're in the middle. And again, there's this like narrator situation. So you are getting these like glimpses of like, okay, you're in the middle of the tundra and you're waddling as a penguin and you're about to turn off the game. And it's like, but listen to this voice. And he's telling you these really intriguing passages. Don't you want to keep waddling along and find out? I'm like, fine, I'll last another waddle. Let's see what happens.
Fine, I'll waddle a little further and see what's going on over here. Yeah. The narrator is the narrator from Disco Elysium, I believe. So the voice is fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, the story, it's intriguing. It is interesting, but it doesn't feel nice to play yet.
Not yet, at least. Exactly.
So
Did you make it to the camp? Did you?
Yes.
Did you? Okay. So yeah, without spoiling,
I made it to where things got a little horrifying, and I was like, okay,
yeah.
Okay, now we're talking.
Exactly. Like it was like the trudging of like getting used to being the penguin and being okay with being a penguin. And then in between there was like a moment of like, this was maybe a little too much tundra. And then after that, you got to the spooky.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like visualize the way this demo plays out. I already wrote down a note to play it, so I guess I'll have to check this out. But like, is it like the game Indica? Have either of you played that?
I did not play Indica.
No. So it is a game that is like you play as a nun in some Eastern European nation. I'm going to make the assumption it's Russia, but it could be any Eastern European nation. And you are like, it is about this nun slowly losing her mind, and she like hears the voice of the devil, and he's tempting her with stuff. But the beginning of the game is literally like, go collect water. And you have to like walk down to the well, collect the water, come. And it's literally showing you the like day-to-day life of being this nun. And you're just doing things that a nun would do. And is that kind of the vibe where it's setting up something? Or is it just the game is like, no, you're walking to a place you need to go to and it's slow?
Here's big sandbox. And then it's like, if there had been a little bit of like, listen, if what you really want to do is just be a little penguin and go eat little fishies and interact with the environment. Have fun. You can't really do that. Like literally it's like waddle or slide and make like follow the voice kind of thing.
Yeah. At the very start of the game, before you're even waddling, there is a human that shoots a flare into the sky. And the game is like, you're a penguin. Get to the flare.
Yeah,
and there's
simple.
A bunch. If you look around environmentally, there's a bunch of stuff to find that is evidence of what's going on out there. And if you find specific things, the narrator voice comes in to be like, yes, this guy did this thing, right? So you can get all of that information, but yeah, you're not being called to, from what I can tell.
Yeah,
you're not being called to the flare by anything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, what's that? You know?
Yeah.
It's so weird to me because in my mind, there is a version of this game that is a little like Cult of the Lamb or something, where it's like a penguin colony sim, but you're the eldritch deity slowly corrupting the penguins, and you have to deal with outside threats of like people coming to Antarctica. Like that is a version of the game I'd be like, yeah, and I want to make some mutant penguins.
Again, beyond the demo, I'm like, am I imagining that perhaps we're the eldritch horror all along? Yes, I am.
Could be.
But the demo did not lead us to believe one way or another.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that was honestly the first demo that I played where I was like, I don't think that I can say I had a great time playing this.
It was fine.
But
I was expecting a little more.
Is interesting enough that I don't want to
It
be
compels you.
like, I'm never gonna touch it again.
Yeah. You've sold me on just wanting to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'll like it, but I kind of want to see what the hell this thing is, simply because everything you're saying sounds like something I would enjoy, except for the actual game.
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. Which is why I
Sure.
comped it to Happy Feet. I was like, it's like Happy Feet. Do you remember Happy Feet?
Right.
No. But the penguins seem to be having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take a demo. We were talking about I do a lot of cozies, a lot of narrative games. Another one that I checked out aligned with the wood carving one. It was Witchworker, which is sort of like Power Wash Simulator, but you're cleaning up
okay.
a witch ateliers. And
cute.
the game is the art style's pixel art, and that was really fun. The controllers left me wanting a little more, so I hope they'll like work on that a little bit. But the game is very much like, don't look at the magic. It's bad. It's not good for you. So
Right.
it's
you're gonna look at it.
of course immediately. I'm like, I'm gonna through this book, of course. So
Mhm.
if you enjoy your like organizers, you're like, I just want to put this book just the right way. It was a fun quick one. So
That sounds very cute. There was a witchy game that I played. What was it called? Oh, Witch's Bakery.
okay.
The animation in it is beautiful. It's a witch in France that has moved to Paris and opened up a bakery. It's very like everybody knows she's a witch and everybody's chill with it, you know. And you it's like a combination, from what I can tell, a combination visual novel and also like bakery simulator. I was saying I'm not sure how interesting the bakery part is past the demo, because they really simplify it by being like, you've got this little friend, this little cat spirit familiar thing, and it just instantly bakes stuff. So when you go into your bakery, you make sure that there's enough dough available. So there's mini games for different types of dough. But as long as you have the dough available, your little guy just constantly bakes stuff for you, and you just make sure that you give the right thing to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious how that gets more interesting or involved, because currently you
It's
just
like
make sure
pushing a
there's
button.
dough. Yeah. You just make sure there's dough, and when a guy comes in for a croissant, you give it to him, you know? But the look of everything, the characters are super cute. I like the story so far. But I was excited to play a really nice looking,
Right.
you know, like food, you know, kitchen
Simulator,
sim sort of thing, and it's really, really simple. So, yeah. So if you just want something pretty, it's good for that. I have another like kind of creepy game that I would love to pitch you both on, though.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Called Dreadline Express.
Is it like one of those
Was it the one from
Exit 8
today?
kind of things?
I did play it today. Yeah. Did you watch me play it?
It was the train one. Yes.
Sorry, Jesse, what are you
Hold
asking?
on, really quickly. Sorry, I was asking if it was like Exit 8. But if you didn't play it already,
Yes.
I imagine the demo's still out, but the last Next Fest, there was a demo called Cucina Stellata.
No.
Look that up, play that. I know you wanted cooking, so Cucina Stellata is a horror experience, ? Except it's cooking themed. So literally, you're an old, I assume, Italian woman and you're making pasta. You're you're sitting there, you're chopping the stuff, you're cooking the things, you're like serving.
Stellata.
Yes, Cucina Stellata. Play it. I think that's one you'll love. I think that's a demo you will vibe
There it is.
with.
Okay, sorry. Let me change it so that it's spelled right.
The correct Italian spelling.
There we go. We did it.
Yeah, that's the one I think you would enjoy, because most of the demo is cooking, but like, this feels weird. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're like,
yeah.
and it's like, make the pasta, cut the meat, and so you're just sitting there and you're frying, you're cooking, and you're doing the whole thing, but it's like, something is off with this. So I think that's kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah. Is it giving like Sweeney Todd vibes?
I don't know. I have no comment.
Oh, okay.
No comment.
Well,
you'll have to play the demo.
If you like the visuals of Cucina Stellata, I think you'll really like Dreadline Express.
Okay.
It is it's a little bit, what's that story where it's like everybody's trapped on a train because it's too cold?
Snowpiercer.
Yeah. So Snowpiercer, but there's horrors beyond our imagining outside of the train. So everybody's stuck on the train.
That's where the penguins might be, actually.
The penguins might be there.
The Antarctic Express. Yeah. The Polar Express, dude. Yo. You know, all right. There is, long ago, Dodge and I had a wonderful talk with our boy Rami, who was like, the best way to make a game is combine two things you love. Now I really want the idea of the Polar Express. And it's like, come on, we're going to go see Santa. But outside is like eldritch horrors and like the worst thing. Yes. Like, but like, you know, it's the Polar Express. So it's Tom Hanks being like, come on, we got to go see Santa. And it's just creepy as shit. Oh my God. That's a brilliant idea. Anyway.
So Dreadline Express, you wake up on a train. You don't remember who you are. And it's clear that has happened naturally because of what keeps happening to the train. You've forgotten who you are. But as there's an announcement that's like, we have an emergency. Everyone is confined to their rooms. You cannot leave. When you look outside, it's just tentacles. There's just tentacles outside trying to break the glass. And you have this time inside of your room on this train to try and figure out what's going on and who you are. And with that, it introduces this card mechanic. So as you're looking around your room, things that are significant become cards. So you look at a candle, you get a card that is just light. Each card has a bunch of information about what you're thinking about when you're, creating this card, so to speak. But the more that you look around, you create one that is, oh my God, I had a wife. I think my wife died on the train. I had a daughter. I'm pretty sure she was born on the train and died on the train. The more you look around, you figure out who you are. And also what this lockdown is, which is essentially a lottery to figure out who they are going to throw out of the train as sacrifice. So that's the beginning of this demo.
Yeah.
And the I think anybody who finds that interesting, I think you should play it. So I'm not going to describe the story past that.
Cool.
But but yeah, it's a card-based mechanic where you choose which cards, and it can be multiple. You choose which cards you want to hold on to and apply kind of as dialogue almost. Like, okay, I know I'm this person. So keeping that in mind, how would I address this thing? Or thinking about my wife, how does thinking about my wife apply to this thing? Or can I use the candles in the room using the light card? Can I use the candles in the room to sort of see this better, right? So it's a pretty simple mechanic. But it is used in a puzzle way where you have to think about like, okay, the cards that I have at my disposal, can I use them? But also, Maybe there are cards I haven't found yet. And when I finished the demo, the dev was actually in chat. Shout out to the dev. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And the dev said, even when the demo's over, if you don't think you have all of the cards that you could have gotten, you can just keep playing it and find all of the cards and figure out everything that the demo has. But I think it's very worth playing. It established the tone in a really interesting way, and it really surprised me because I downloaded it on vibes alone, and it wound up being like one of my favorite things I played today. So
that's awesome. It sounds cool. I can't wait to check it out. I'm literally just making a list to add to the list of demos I have, along with a list of regular games I have on my desktop. Because
of course. We don't speak of those though. It's like I think that's like one thing about like the fests that I'm always like, oh right, this is just another quarterly reminder of my ever-growing Steam library. We just won't talk about it. It's fine.
My wish list is gonna get horrific today, and that's okay. Yeah. Do you have another one?
I'll do another one. If you like environmental, but the Eldritch Horror wasn't doing it for you for Dreadline Express, I mentioned I do a lot of cozy games, so I checked out Capy Castaway, which had like a very
Is it a capybara?
It's a capybara and a crow who are buddies.
Cute.
And there's this like flood that's affected their world, but they're out there sort of trying to help the people that are left and sort of trying to figure out what happened with the flood and sort of fix things. A lot of like environmental engagement and sort of like, you know, you can put things on your capybara's head and your capybara is like, it's kind of like Link, so he doesn't really talk. It's really cute, but his dialogue is all just like little emotes from the capybara. And pretty simple sort of like fetch mission for the demo, but just kind of getting you used to the controls, which were, you know, pretty approachable, very like a short hike-esque for me.
Okay. I love that game.
Yeah. So looking forward to like seeing where that goes. It just looks really cute. It's just like, you know, it's like sometimes you just need a little guy that you can control, move him around, put a little flower in their head. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
cute. Yeah, that looks adorable. I didn't see that game at all. Building on the dynamic duo thing, I also played a game called Deer and Boy.
Oh, stop. That comes out soon, by the way. It's on our list of games coming out.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm definitely going to be playing it. You're a little human boy. In terms of how it feels to play it, it's a little bit inside-y. It's like a side scroller. You're a little boy and you've got a tiny deer with you, and the deer is magical, maybe? But the demo is you and your deer friend basically engaging in stealth mechanics, trying to get from point A to point B without any grown-ups catching you. And it introduces like you're able to signal to your little deer friend, like, hey, go through here, or hey, press this button, sort of stuff. And it's a really clear mechanic of like, you highlight a thing. If it highlights green, it means your little deer friend is going to go try to do that. If it highlights red, it means he's like, I can't do that. You got to do something different puzzle wise or whatever in order to facilitate that for me. But it's very cute. It's really, really cute. In the demo, at least, nothing bad happens to either of them.
And nothing will. And nothing will,
maybe. And I sure hope
go on to lead a rather boring life of just being buds.
And the second they get out of there, they're like, great, let's build a cabin and be happy. And that's how the game
for life.
ends, probably.
The end.
Yeah. Yes.
But it looks great and it plays great. I had a really good time with it, and it's a pretty short demo if you want to check it out and see how it feels. But I do also want to bring up a game called Slime Soup.
Oh.
Slime Soup?
Slime Soup. Look, if these games you're like, I'm not really into the dark games. I'm not really into the cute games. I just want a disgusting game to play. You should play Slime Soup, which is a game where you have a pot of soup that you are making for goblins, and the goblins want different types of disgusting soup. Everything that you can get in the game to improve your soup is nasty.
Of course.
It's all horrifying. When you feed the soup to them, they literally just open their mouth and the soup just splashes onto their face.
Onto their gullet.
Nice. Goblins.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. But I had a great time with it because it's a match game. So like there's just like little slime balls in your cauldron and you have to match up the slime balls. So if somebody shows up and they have 180 hunger, right? You have to match up enough slime to satiate them. But also if you overmatch, if you're like, oh my God, I had a run of like 200 slime, the excess goes on to the next guy because they all just want slime. They're all just hungry for slime. And also if you fail, they give you reviews like essentially boiling down to this was not nearly disgusting enough.
Not gross enough.
Not gross enough. Yeah. One of the items that was listed as a utensil that I could get to improve my soup was just a diaper. It's gross. It's a nasty game. But it was very satisfying to play. So I don't know. Take that how you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just say while you're describing that?
Yeah.
I kept looking at what I thought were your fabulous earrings. Only now did I realize that it's actually your glasses chain.
My glasses chain.
I thought you were wearing, I was like, girls, you're fabulous today. No, it's your glasses.
No.
Okay.
I'm still fabulous.
Yeah.
But
thank you,
in
but
an
still
alchemist
fabulous,
way.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for some reason, though, I just got it in my head that like, wow, she's got like dangly earrings. That's great. No.
If it makes you feel better, a person in real life who was staring right at me also thought that they were earrings the other day. So
I didn't realize it kind of went around the back of your neck because it dangles down so far.
Well,
And they're
it's
so
really
intricate
thin.
here.
I think it's kind of hard to tell what it's doing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was just like the entire time. We are an hour and 22 minutes in. And I was like, didn't notice or it didn't clock with me. And then I just looked and I was like, oh, what nice ear. Those aren't earrings. Like I had a whole moment. And I'm sure you were talking about, gross goblin garbage soup.
It was.
But I was like, are those, what is that? How's that even work? What's going on over there?
And yet the Phasma helmet, you were like, clocked it.
Yes. I've established who I am clearly in this podcast. I was like, there's other things happening. Maybe I do need those pills. Maybe Math Jesse needs to happen.
They'd make you too strong.
Yeah.
We've already established.
You're right. What a fool I'd be. Yeah.
Have either of you guys ever done the glasses chain thing? I'm addicted. I love it.
Never.
Yeah. I got into it during early COVID days because I was like, well, I needed something to like grab my masks if I'm taking it off or whatever. And glass chains turned out to be a perfect sub because you can get the clippy ones. So now I have
that makes sense.
like a collection of 2 or 3, but they're kind of addictive.
If I'm gonna get a chain, I'm gonna become a monocle guy.
Fair.
Okay. And that's
chain.
fair.
I'll be like, let me perceive this.
I do fear that then you would only be able to see through one eyeball.
Yes.
Oh no, I'd be a double monocle guy.
Oh, I see. It would be right.
Yeah. I'd be like the less cool version of dude from the Matrix.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the clip-on like nose glasses thing, I'd be like, hold on,
pince nez.
Let me be lame Morpheus and put these on. Yeah.
Those exist, don't they? Where it's like 2 sides of the glasses and they dangle and then they magnetize together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Would be pretty cool.
But I don't want that. I just want monocles. I want like things
He
here.
wants to hold them. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be like, let me see. And people will be like, why do you have 2? I'd be like, why not? Ooh, Do you think that's like? Do you think like you know how like really rich guys get like multiple boats?
Sure.
What about like dudes who really can't see well? 2 monocles. The monocles is like that guy's got 2 monocle rich. That's what I want.
No,
That's my status symbol.
They'd have the monocle, but when you went, whoosh, the other side would snap out.
Oh,
It'd be crazy.
But that seems like a sassy grandma thing, not like a old rich man thing. Doing
Grandmas
this
don't
and
have
go,
the
let me
wrist
see,
strength
is like
for that.
that's this going. That's Jessica Fletcher. That's Jessica Fletcher vibes. You know what I mean?
that.
Like
It's
that's not like let me see. This is like I got my eyeglass and I got my stopwatch or something, like my pocket watch. That's the vibe I'm going for. The minute you go and you do 2 glasses with one thing, you're Murder, She Wrote.
My kid has lost 3 pairs of glasses, so I think she also needs to get on the glasses chain train.
Question.
I
Hold
think it
on,
would
hold
help.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
Looking at this from a above board, top down view.
or top down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, your sweet, sweet babe. Is it
Yes.
that she's losing the glasses, or that she's misplacing them?
No, because she's upset
kids get made
every
fun
time.
of in school.
No,
All right.
she's upset every single time.
Okay.
I remember
I
when
don't
I
know,
first
dude.
got glasses, the kids were mean.
Kids can be.
You know, she hasn't mentioned that at all. And I feel like the narrative around that is different now.
mean.
Okay.
I like
Plus,
to think
She
because
can get sports mode glasses, so this could be an improvement. It's true.
Crocs not allowed, but
Yeah.
sports mode glasses for sure.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from her, and she's a little yapper, I don't know where she gets it from. I haven't heard anything
Same.
from her about any of the kids in her class, and there are quite a few that wear glasses. It's never once been a thing of like,
Well,
oh my gosh, what a nerd,
I forgot. My bad. I forgot. Clark is on the mean girl trajectory. I forgot about this. My bad. I forgot.
She's at
I
the
forgot.
top of the pecking order.
Yeah, she's at the pecking. She's up there with like Buffy
Who
and
would
Muffy
dare
and
to
like
make fun of her?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one would make fun of her. I forgot about this. Yeah, all right. Never mind. If anyone said anything, she would destroy them. Right. Okay. It's all good.
As a reminder to the viewers / listeners right now, somebody said Crocs not allowed, ? I know, it's horrifying. In England, every school, regardless, is a uniform school, as a reminder. So no, they cannot wear Crocs to school.
Yeah.
But this was specifically in a sports situation. I got an email today that was reiterating that kids should not be wearing Crocs on PE days.
Crocs.
And listen, I went to a school with uniform as well. I went to Catholic school for all of my primary education and whatnot. And it's the same thing. Like we it was like loafers, like closed toe shoes and tennis shoes for PE and whatnot. As we got older in high school, that's when Crocs came into the scene, and we were like, oh, like, how can we game this? Like, you were getting the really fancy Crocs that looked like normal shoes, but they were Crocs. Right. And then the school didn't know what to do with that, They were like,
yeah.
I don't understand the concept of let's go be active and like run around, but in Crocs.
In Crocs, yeah.
That
Children
seems
love
insane
them.
to me.
They do.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My feet
I
already
agree.
hurt thinking about it.
I consistently
All right.
have to remind my kid, if we're going to a park and she puts Crocs on, I have to remind her, kid, if you wear those to the park, you're going to get all kinds of shit in your shoes and be annoyed the whole time. You got to put on sneaks.
Open air.
But they go for the Crocs first, always.
Crocs are like modern day slippers.
Yeah.
I feel like house only, and maybe if you're being lazy and going to get coffee in the morning. Other than that, you're playing with fire. If you're like, I'm headed off to an amusement park today in my Crocs. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to carry your ass around. When you're like, my poor feet.
All right, but then
why'd I do that?
Sweaty.
That's on you. Yeah, like gross. Oh, yeah, I even forgot. You're going to have stank ass feet the rest of the day. Like your feet going to be gross. I'm not going to deal with that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see anything about how there's a YouTuber that I follow that did a whole video on this, and I did a deep dive, but I guess like, you know how everybody's making like micro movies that are intended to be watched in like 30-second snips.
Sure.
Companies are starting
Jesse's
to
not
try to
aware.
make those to try to get in.
Hold on. What do you mean micro movies?
You know, like those movies that are movies that you just see like on TikTok and like
Like
10
a
second
full movie that is cut
like
up into
movies
10-second
made
clips?
for TikTok or for apps that are meant to be just like, here's a chapter that's like
Isn't that what Quibi was supposed to be? Y'all remember that shit?
It's a lot like Quibi, yes.
Okay, all right.
So those apparently are starting to make a lot. If you're like one of these companies that just shits out a bunch of them, they're making bank on these. So I guess companies are now going, we should make a little movie that promotes our brand somehow. And Crocs made one.
Oh.
They made a romance movie that was about two neighbors. And one of them is a psychopath and just leaves their Crocs outside of their door all the time. And
Which is bad for them. They shrink. They shrink. Don't leave your Crocs
Did not
in the
know they
sun.
shrink.
Yes. If you leave the Crocs or in the heat or in a car, they will shrink. Don't do that.
Oh gosh, I didn't know. But in the story, a girl who works for the Crocs company keeps walking by and his Crocs have no gibbets, none of the charms, and she's horrified. So she starts leaving gibbets on his Crocs.
How will anyone know anything about this guy?
Right? Yeah. So she starts leaving gibbets on his Crocs, and it becomes a way for them to communicate, and they fall in love even though they've never met. They just fall in love through gibbets.
So I'm curious how they do it, but I've seen some of these before. I did a tool for this episode about this trend, and there's one that I watched where I started to realize the way you get away with doing these like less than a minute long movies is that at the end of every episode is a cliffhanger. Like the one that I watched, this woman walks in and finds her husband like getting on with her sister, and she's like, she pulls out a gun and you hear like a gun sound effect, and then it ends. And I was like, whoa! So then the next one, it's her shooting in the air, and she's like, I hate you. And he's like, I never loved you. Your sister gives me that good. And she's like, get out of here, you. And then she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna lose my farm. Cut. And then the next one's like the new guy, and he's like, I'm driving out to go see this farm because we're gonna buy it for our evil corporation. And it's literally how the two of them fall in love like that. But it's over multiple. But at the end of every episode is like the end of a soap opera where it's like, what? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then the next time it's like, actually, that wasn't what happened. It was just something crazy we threw in there. Is that the case here for the Crocs?
I didn't watch it. I don't know. I saw it. I saw it in snippets.
Okay, but
I didn't even watch the actual episodes.
Yes, but the snippets you watched, is that the flow where it was?
It doesn't seem
story,
like
story,
it.
story,
No.
insane ending.
It's just like part 1, part 2, and like
I think so.
That's not going to get people coming back. You got to have something. I watched those because I wanted to watch those. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. And then she found out that the dude who was her new like guy. By the way, in order to get her ex-husband to leave the property, she made out with the new guy who just showed up there, and it made him so mad he left. And then she found out after she kissed him and took his shirt off because he was all covered in mud from their earlier interactions. She took his shirt off, and he's standing on the front porch, and that's when she gets a call from this dude who's like, the man who's trying to buy your farm is there right now. And she's like, this guy? And he's like, who? Right? And it was so good. Cut. And it's like, are they? Oh yeah, cut.
Cut.
It's that kind of thing. It's terrible storytelling, but it's incredibly like algorithm. Like my
I
brain
was
needs
gonna
to
say
know.
perfect for the
course.
like flip.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Again,
I'm
it's like the page turn of it all. Like, how do you keep people
Yeah.
coming back? So,
Yeah.
I hate it.
yeah,
I'm
it's bad.
sure that this is also reminding me of like the music thing. How some people are trying to, when making music, they're trying to game the algorithm by having the really interesting part of the song be at the start to like keep people listening to it for longer so that they don't skip to the next song. I know, isn't that sad? Like so many art types are having to say like, how do I game the algorithm? And that sucks so much.
I literally just read an article about, I think it's Disney or Pixar, whatever the new movie that's coming out, the new animated movie coming out.
Heck,
Someone noticed that in the trailer and in footage of the movie, all the action happens in the middle of the screen, and the reasoning is so it can be put on vertical formats, so people can always see what's happening. And I was like, I hate this. What do we do? So the way people watch stuff informs the way art is created. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So just got done reading that, and that ruined my morning. I was like, cool.
Yeah,
That
and being
sucks
against
so
that
much.
grain is hard. It's hard because you have a lot of people, right? Like you have the Guillermo del Toros that are like, but what if we just make this, or the Steven Spielbergs, we were talking about Disclosure there earlier, right? Obviously, these are like big names; they can do whatever the hell they want. But like, where is that whimsy? Where is that like creative like impetus? Where we're like, but what if we just made something kind of interesting, right? We're talking about all these demos, like they popped out for us because they had that little bit of like, what is different here, that it's like keeping you going. But it's it is really sad, like especially when you're like in industries and working in realms that force you to know how the sausage is made, almost to be like, this sucks, man, like how do we fix this?
It's very interesting. I mean, like, even in YouTube thumbnail creation, watching what YouTube says is the way to go versus what you want to do. And we've been doing a little test here on this podcast with thumbnails where we'll create a thumbnail and then we'll do the YouTube version of that thumbnail and we'll upload to test. And even though one looks way more heavily edited and like the contrast is off and it's super weird and like borderline AI strangeness, YouTube's like, that's the way to go. Do this. And so far the data is like, yeah, people click that more. And it's really upsetting to me because I'm like, I don't understand. But that's why I'm not a 500 million subscriber YouTuber, because I'm like, I don't understand why anyone wants this. Like, but people do. They click it more. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
The algorithms know, despite what we tell ourselves, they know the truth.
There's always a discrepancy between what people say that they want versus what they actually engage with, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like like staying on that line of like not almost like selling out to it is sort of like where it's at. It happens to me a lot, as an author and just like as a writer. Like my content looks very different than like video format. Like the artist that gets to do like, oh, I'm doing like a artist demo or whatever. I'm like, I don't wanna. I'm just not gonna dance for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just unfortunately beyond my skill set. But yeah, it's having to tweak and having to explore. It's like what the publishers want you to do and be like, well, this is what's working in marketing. And we're like, okay, that sounds great, but that's not me, right? Like
Yeah,
I mean, it sucks because you are creating art, but you also have bills to pay.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I want to make this thing that is uncorrupted by the world, but I also understand, unfortunately, I exist in a world where, I got to pay for my water bill, dude. So like, I'll do what I got to do, but
absolutely.
Yeah, it's not great. It does suck a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been pretty open about distancing myself from social media for years now. And I've reached the point where I've realized like I'm really from a like promoting myself and keeping myself in people's minds. I'm not doing myself any favors by not engaging with social media at all, you know. I get people all the time that are like, I didn't even realize you were still streaming, or like whatever. Like you really do, because everything is so saturated. Unfortunately, in a job like this, you kind of have to be doing anything that you can to be like, I'm doing a thing. Hey, I'm doing a thing, you know, and trying to figure out how do I engage with that in a way where I'm still sort of like protecting myself mentally, but engaging with the system. It's hard to figure out how to do that, you know. But we are in a situation where it's like I have to be promoting. I have to. I'm not shout out to him, he's lovely. I'm not a Markiplier, right? Like
exactly.
So I have to be reminding people that I'm here.
No, same thing. I mean, like, you know, I was really lucky that, you know, I have these 2 releases coming out. I had 2 books that already came out this year. And that's like, wow, like, Barbara, you're creating so much. It's like, well, all of these stories are like 4 years in the making, you know, like 3-4 years of work getting to here. And they just so happen to line up like this. And I'm like, hey, like, I have more books, or even the books that already came out. They're like, I didn't even know you had books that came out already. I'm like, I don't know how else to do you more than that, you know? Like, at what point is it also relearning as an audience that, hey, like, you have to engage with us. Like, we're trying to engage with you, but you have to engage back. I think there's a little bit of that, like, learning through the screen of, like, I want you guys to, like, just send feedback, you know, like send any sort of response that's like, right, yes, this is how I didn't miss it, or this is how I found it. And navigating that, it's another job. I think that none of us were like necessarily being like, yeah, and suddenly I also work in marketing. It's like it sucks. I you know, I'm not I've been saying, it's like I'm fine doing it and I think I'm okay at it, but I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I still want to be a writer. I don't want to be a marketer.
Right.
But the environment is demanding it of us.
Yeah. I watch a lot of people who the thing that they want to be doing and their job is like some sort of craft, right? They make a thing, they go to craft shows, they want to be selling them. But they've sort of, by nature of the beast, have also needed to learn how to film videos and edit them and upload them and do all of that sort of, because it's the only way to keep their business going, right? And I feel like all of us are being sort of pulled toward a thing that doesn't come naturally to us, just out of necessity.
That I think is the inherent problem with modern day YouTube or Twitch or whatever, where there are many, many, many people who are in it for creativity and they're trying to make a thing and and that's great. And there's many of them, but I think aside from a few, and I'm going to say flukes, like I genuinely think like Markiplier is a fluke. I don't like don't mean that mean, but I mean he's like, he is a guy who I remember watching and being like, that's an incredibly talented dude. But there are millions of incredibly talented people. He just hit the right moment at the right time where he blew up in the right way. And awesome. Like, there's many people like that. There are many people I consider like not the norm, right? Like there are many people who, during that period of like 13, 14, 15 YouTube, that's like, if you were successful, it's because you land at the right place, right time, and you were the right type of charisma.
Yeah.
Like that's just, but there's many people who are, I would say, better than Mark entertaining wise, but they don't have any audience, right? Like that's just, it's the way it is. But these days, I think it's incredibly hard for someone who is a creative or an entertainer or like a really good host or whatever to blow up. The people who are the marketers. And that's why when you watch their content, it's heavily produced. It looks amazing. They always tap into the right thing. It's really well done. But they themselves are boring as hell. Like, I must stress, the prime example of this is Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is the most successful YouTuber of all time. That dude is charismaless. I don't care what anyone says.
He is very boring. I agree.
We can agree to
There's
that.
no charisma there. But he knows how to market and sell and get people to watch videos and, more importantly, get people to subscribe. And there are plenty of streamers who will have so many views, and I'll be like, yo, I can't wait to see what they're up to. And their stream is the most boring thing in the world. And it's all it's marketing yourself. A lot of it is like creating a little buzz and a little drama and then capitalizing on it.
The shotgun
And
comes
a lot
in.
of people, yeah. And a lot of people who are creatives. Yeah, a lot of people are creatives. A lot of people who just want to like play a game or stream their thoughts or like make a video.
Yeah.
They're thinking of that first and how to make the thumbnail, how to title it, how to do that's all secondary because the process of creating the product is the thing they're focused on. And they're like, well, it's good. People should want to watch good stuff. That's not, there's 8 billion videos. No one's going to find your cool stuff because they're being flooded with all this other stuff. Just like games or streams or books or movies or whatever. There's so much content that it's all marketing. And that's like right now, the best people are the ones who know how to market. And it sucks because like you can sit there and be like, I'm like, you know, I'm going to create this great thing. But if you don't have the marketing, no one's going to see it.
Yeah.
So it's
but
tough.
You gotta love
it's tough.
it. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's
you have to just
reality. You have to love it. Like you really have to be in it to love it. You know, like you just want to be on the internet and like, you know, share your thoughts. Like you were saying, like the same thing. Like, and I think it goes back to a little bit of that early conversation we were having of like, who am I writing for? Who am I creating for? It's like, listen, most of the days I'm like, if one person reads it, that's great. But I have to find like in a book that I'm making, it's like, but I'm doing this for me. Like ultimately, like I'm making this book because I wanted to make this. And like the song and dance that I got to do on social media, it's like still secondary because it's like, because the book is done. Like the hard part is doing the creative thing. I think that there's also something to be said about that. Like sometimes we get stuck thinking about it's like, well, how am I gonna produce it? How am I gonna make 1 million subscribers? Like, just do it. I think comics happens a lot in comics where people are like, well, I want to make sure it's good. Who cares if it's good? You want to make it, right?
And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about like Markiplier being a fluke. It's the idea that I don't believe he set out to be a huge YouTuber. He set out to make stuff, and then that resonated with people, and he got their attention, which I don't think is the way it works now. Now you can't just show up, be good at something, and expect someone's going to find you. You have to, like, network and have, like, really... I mean, honestly, it's why most people who are famous right now... are done so... They get that way because of the dramatic, insane shit they do. Because it's hard to ignore that stuff. And so the more outlandish you are, the harder it is for people to ignore what you're doing. And so they tune in to see, oh my God, look at this train wreck. I mean, you know, it's like the collision on the side of the road. Cars slow down to look. And it's that kind of thing where I don't think it's a different beast, unfortunately. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yep. Wow. Is there a better topic to end on? We really sank it in there.
So true. Shall we quickly do the news?
Yes. This one, obviously, we have to start today with the fact that, you know, it's kind of a bummer, but multiple Xbox first-party developers, including Compulsion Games, Double Fine Productions, and Ninja Theory, are reportedly facing potential closure. I guess they're trying to sell them off or spin them off into independent studios to survive, but knowing how much money it takes to make any type of game, I don't know that they have the cash to do so. unless someone comes in as an investor. Looming shutdowns, spin-offs. There's a whole reset happening at Xbox where Asha Sharma came in, said they're going to be the #1 game studio by 2030. And I don't know, this reminds me of Embracer Group being like, we're going to bring back all these games. Anyway, we shut down all those studios. It feels the exact same way.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks, but I think everyone, when you see these things of like company X buys all these other things, I think we all understood people about to get fired. And it's going to keep happening because a lot of it is about owning stuff, not actually making stuff, which is really messed up. Welcome to Business 101. Don't like it. Meanwhile, over at PlayStation, they are getting into the probably, I would imagine, PS6 mode, in that they have filed a patent. Again, if you remember the way when Astrobot came out and the controller did all sorts of wacky stuff, well, they have a patent for a theoretical PlayStation controller featuring buttons that can soften or harden in real time based on in-game actions. So you know how sometimes the triggers get a little harder to squeeze depending on things? Now they're doing all the buttons. The technology utilizes smart, magnetically responsive composite materials that alter their physical hardness depending on the strength of an internal magnetic field. So this is some crazy future tech. It has the same haptic feedback as the PS5 DualSense, but the example they give is the buttons could soften when a character treks through a swamp or harden when climbing a rocky surface. And so the patent even describes a finger grab effect where the buttons soften to let a finger sink in before instantly hardening to simulate being trapped or grabbed in the game. This is the kind of tech I'm here for. I want this so bad. I need a new Astrobot where he's like stuck in mud, and I'm like, yeah, I want this. So I love little gimmicky things like this. So very fun. Then speaking of gimmicky things, Nintendo and Pokemon have announced a limited time Nintendo 2 Switch bundle for Europe featuring Pokemon Pokopia. Hilariously, if you're very excited and you're thinking this is like the 3DS days where you're about to get the coolest looking Switch 2 that's like Pokemon themed, nah, it's just a normal Switch 2, but the game's there, so that's pretty cool. It's so weird.
That's true. We haven't really gotten
Nothing.
like any kind of like limited edition, like cool looking versions at all.
Especially considering the Switch 2 is selling so well. You think they would be like, let's make some really cool looking
consoles. They're fun.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're going to get the standard issue black console with the Pokemon digital game. That's it. I thought it was going to be like, I was like, yes, okay. Oh, this would be so cool looking. Pokopia is cool. Having a little Pokopia thing. Nope. False. It's just the normal. So that's a thing. Then Epic Games has released Unreal Engine 5.8. It's a huge update with the Lumen Light lighting system. That's going to really boost stuff for Switch 2. Speaking of Switch 2, basically it's just another delightful update in the Unreal Engine stuff and more to come. I believe also Epic announced that the Epic Games Launcher is it's being remade to be faster. So cool, man. Like, all right, great. And then the one that I think is really interesting for you, Dukes, I'm very curious what your thoughts on this are. The UK government announced a sweeping ban on social media for children under the age of 16, which Prime Minister Keir Starmer intends to pass before Christmas for implementation in spring 2027. The restriction will apply to major platforms including X, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and people are concerned that because the implications of this law are that it says extends to online services with streaming capabilities and gaming sites. People are wondering if Discord or Xbox or even Steam, sometimes Steam says that thing at the top of the screen where people are playing the game. They're wondering what this is going to do to all of that. A lot of parents and, social activist groups are like, hell yeah. But a lot of people are like, hell no, this seems crazy, dog. So I'm really curious because it feels more like a blanket statement than an actual law. Like, no one shall allow these things. I'm very curious as a parent in the UK, and as someone in the industry, what you think about this.
I mean, there's this element, of course, of like having it go up to 16 is very silly because 16 is when kids are legally allowed to do a lot of things in this country. So
sure,
they can do all that, but they can't go on Facebook or like. I think as a parent, knowing that like the kids can't just go into chat rooms on things like Roblox, I think is relieving in certain ways, because games like Roblox have proven to be very predatory towards kids. Mm-hmm. But I also think that there's a lot of value in especially teenagers being able to connect with each other. And taking that away, I don't necessarily think is a positive thing. I don't know. I think there's definitely a puritanical element to it. There's also this element of like, okay, so you're just going to make everybody register themselves digitally. You want to see everybody's passports. Everybody has to scan their face. Like, that's fucked up. I don't like that either. And to be totally honest, there are a bunch of kids that are just figuring out how to bypass the shit anyway.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because like there's a world in which you could see a benevolent government saying, hey guys, kids are getting all sorts of messed up by all this online social media stuff and the digital world. And like, we're really concerned about, young people being able to read and integrate and just like talk to people in society. Like there's all these things that social media is really messing up with kids. I get that. But that's in a world where everyone trusts their government to do the right thing. But we all live in a world where I don't know that I want to hand over all my information to you. I don't know that I trust you. And that I think is the inherent problem with all of this is being like, we're trying to help. It's like, are you though, bro? It seems like you're trying to control stuff rather than help. And there's a problem there that unfortunately is on the government for, being shit. It's like, if y'all actually did stuff that we thought was valuable, then like, we could probably get a little bit more on your side. But this feels like one of those things where, like you said, a little puritanical, like we're going to tell you what you can do with yourself, which is
a little, a little Big Brother adjacent, a little.
Yeah, no one loves that stuff. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But like you can understand on like a conceptual level, but in reality,
as established earlier in this very episode, I don't like social media. I think it's been very bad for me.
For everybody.
I think that there are a ton of negatives to it.
But I also feel like it should be on you to figure that shit out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think everyone needs to have their like moment of, oh no, this is terrible. But unfortunately, that takes a while for a lot of people, especially young kids, because that's where you have to be.
Sure. And I think that there's also like a little bit, in the fight versus like, is this on the individual or is this on the government? I also think that there's a third person here. There's a third person in this conversation. I think it really is about putting all of these platforms to task. Yeah. Because I think we see that here, in my sphere is book bans, right? It's like the idea of like, hey, we're going to control this because this is better for the children. We're helping the children. And it's like, are we though? Like, are we really just like, if we put them in a box and like, they don't have to worry about it until they're 16, it's like, but how are we preparing them for these things? Like,
yes.
Oh, I feel like a lot of it is, as an adult, I don't want to deal with the concept of a child learning about X or Y because that makes me feel weird. So we're just going to keep them in a box so they don't. Like, that's the vibe I get.
I've always felt really weird watching content from other parents that's like, here are rules around screens. Because just personally for us, I feel like we've had a lot of value in just knowing what our kid is engaging with and having conversations about it, because again, at the end of the day, at a certain point, she's going to have access to everything anyway. And if we
Right.
never had these conversations about like the ways that these systems work, how, you know, why they do things that they do, what sort of content is out there and why different companies do these things, how these algorithms work to try and keep you on them, right? I talk with my kid about all of this stuff because the last thing I want is for us to have a like no screens house. And then once she can be on whatever screen she wants, she gets super overstimulated and doesn't really know how to navigate it, right?
Yeah.
So,
And again, you were saying there's like there's so many ways to bypass these things these days. Like I remember lying about my age online. It's like, how is
Sure.
that any different than what we
Yeah.
did 15 years ago or whatever? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you really think the government's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna stop this 12-year-old being mean to each other on Roblox? Like, come on.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kids will find a way. It's you know, I think most of it is to make the adults feel better, but that's just
Yeah,
that's
to
just
give
how I feel.
themselves a pat in the back. It's like, oh
Yeah,
well, we
like,
passed
we
the
did a
bill.
thing.
We
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then releases this week. Obviously today, the new Dave the Diver jungle content update is out. So if you love Dave and you love diving, that is the thing you can do today. Then coming out on the 22nd, we've got the fantasy-themed platformer Dark Scrolls, which looks super cute. It has online co-op. You just beat the crap out of all these creatures. It kind of looks Final Fantasy-ish, but like old school vibes. Definitely one to play with the friends. Then the 23rd, Dim Haven, a puzzle adventure narrative where you use the camera to help you solve puzzles and reveal clues. It looks like a game that's right up my alley, so I will definitely be checking that one out. And then, like Dodger mentioned earlier, Dear and Boy, very cute story about a runaway boy meeting a fawn, and everything will be
Everything's
okay,
gonna be
and they
totally
will live
fine.
happily
It'll be fine.
ever after with zero struggle.
Yep.
And then on the 25th, Dead or Alive 6 Last Round, the 3D fighting game fans have been horned up for over 30 years about, is
Love those
back.
games. Unironically.
And this time it has one of the most intricate photo modes I've ever seen. So that just goes to show you what kind of game this is. I, for one, am excited. However, bring back beach volleyball, you cowards. Then
That game was great.
Yes.
Then we have a completely different direction. Kyo, K-I-Y-O, the dystopian but also furry game of fighting against tyrannical bunnies who rule everything. It's like a stealth platform adventure. Looks super wild, like a pixel ninja kind of thing. And then also on the 25th, for old asses like me, Star Fox releases again on Switch 2. Literally, it'll be one of two games I will own for Switch 2 now. And most of the time I'm playing the SNES games anyway on that thing. And so having a SNES game, actually, I guess this will be a 64 game. Having those older games brought back, I'm very excited for. So yes, consider me thrilled to get new Star Fox on the 25th. And that is what's coming out over the next week.
Yay.
Fantastic. Babs, you've been such a lovely guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. This was such a blast.
Thank you.
Of course. You want to tell everybody once again the books you have coming out and when and where they can find you and all of those lovely things.
Yeah, of course. So Today's the Moon and Stars comes out July 14th as a Romantasy YA graphic novel, and The Library of Memories, which is a middle grade original graphic fantasy graphic novel, comes out August 25th, and you can find me online at MustacheBabs on your social media du jour or at MustacheBabs.com. So see you there.
Cool.
Fantastic. Jesse, what have you got going on?
Oh boy. I'm finally back from stuff, so fingers crossed. My life isn't a complete mess, and hopefully I will be able to stream a bunch tomorrow. I would love to be able to beat Road to Empress 2. And then in the meantime,
please do.
Yes, and then in the meantime, today, I'm meeting again with the Scary Game Squad guys, and we're playing more of a game that we've been playing for a little bit now, and then I'll release it all at once, but just give everyone a heads up. It's Fatal Frame 2. One of the best games
dang.
of all time in the horror genre, so get ready for that.
Fantastic. I have no idea what I'm playing next week, so
More
come find out.
demos?
It's gonna be crazy.
Pathfinder, at least.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing Pathfinder on every Monday on twitch.tv/doodle, DEUXDEL, with my lovely friend Babs. Yeah, come by. I stream every day at 11 a.m. BST. But if you're like, I don't care about that, I want to watch more Geekenders. All of the Geekenders are on youtube.com/Jessie Cox. All of our past episodes were also on the podcasting apps and sites if you want to listen to it. Either way, we would love your support. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have an amazing weekend and week. Yes. And Jessie has a thing to say.
Just really quickly, I want to point out a few episodes back, I mentioned that weird adult gaming company reached out to us. I reached out to them and they reached back. So I'm just saying this could be a thing, Dodger. We could get an adult money.
Bring me back. Bring me back for that.
You want to have some adult money?
Yes, please.
Fantastic. We will see you guys next time for Geekenders next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's time for the Geekenders podcast. MegaRan, Jesse and Dodger, what up? Let's go. Yo, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to geek out. Let it begin. Go on, stream and shout. It's Jesse and Dodger, so give them a follow and see what the Geekenders are all about. Yo, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to geek out. Let it begin. Go on, stream and shout. It's Jesse and Dodger, so give them a follow. #1 geek podcast, without a doubt. Yo, another end of another long week. Got a job and a kid, I know that you all beat. So take a second, grab a drink and vibe while we catch you up in just a matter of time. On gaming, comics, whatever you're doing. If you're nerdy like us, then you know you should tune in. Thank you for sharing our world with us. Now follow, subscribe, and turn this up. Yo, it's the weekend. Yeah, it's time to geek out. Let it begin. Go on, stream and shout. It's Jesse and Dodger, so give them a follow. #1 geek podcast, without a